Hi everyone, thanks for watching the video. My name is Chris, and today I'm going to talk about 5 things I wish I knew before I set up a power rack in my home gym. Okay, a couple of things before we get into the 5 tips. One, that is a baby swing. I have 2 young kids and my youngest likes to swing in that. And 2, you'll notice in the video there are multiple power racks being assembled as I talk about the 5 tips. I've gone through different setups, and so this is why I wanted to share the tips with you guys. My first tip is to plan your setup. Know the dimensions of the space you're going to utilize for your gym, as well as know the dimensions of the equipment you plan to use. For example, if your ceiling height is only 90 inches, you probably don't want a power rack that's 90 inches tall, especially when you think about needing head clearance if you're going to do a pull-up, or if you're going to put some type of flooring to protect the equipment and the floors of your home. Another thing that I had to think about is where I wanted to put my power rack. Because my garage slopes down towards the garage, I wanted to make sure that my power rack also faces in that slope so that when I'm squatting or deadlifting, I'm not on an uneven surface. It could be pretty minimal. I'm not sure how much it really will impact anyone long term. It's just I knew that my garage did slope down, so that's why I wanted to make sure that I had it facing towards the garage door. My second tip is flooring. Most people use flooring to not only protect their equipment, but mainly to protect the floors of wherever they're lifting. The most common and recommended flooring that I've seen online are the horse stall mats from Tractor Supply Store. They're 3/4 inches thick, they're 4 feet by 6 feet per piece, and really they're the ones that I use for my home as well. I think in terms of covering the entire garage gym, they're probably the best budget-friendly version of it, and they're super strong and sturdy. The one thing I will say in regarding to the horse stall mats is generally they do smell unless you find ones that are stored outside. So usually when I purchased mine, I actually left them outside for a little bit. I sprayed them down. It still took a bit of time for the smell to go away, but in general, they are the flooring that I would recommend in terms of putting into your garage gym or your basement.
If you decide to buy horse stall mats, I recommend using Gorilla Tape to keep them together, and this also helps prevent moisture and anything else from getting under the mats.
The third tip I have is to get a socket wrench that fits the bolts for the power rack you're going to use. I've also seen people get an impact drill with the drill bit for the bolt size as well. Really, that's going to save you a ton of time, and if you're going to get a lot of different equipment, it's going to be pretty universally used, especially if you get attachments for it.
One of the reasons why I recommend getting the socket wrench is because when you are trying to get this bolt down here, it's going to be really hard to do that with an adjustable wrench, whereas the socket wrench you can just move quickly up and down.
My fourth tip is to look at the numbering as well as the feet of your uprights, because when I set up my PR4000 6-post rack, I actually had the cross members and the uprights at the wrong spot, and I did that on a couple of them, and I didn't realize that until I got further along in the process. So really just make sure you understand if you want the numbers facing inside or if you want them to face them outwards, and I have an example video that I can show you guys.
When I was building my PR4000 rack, I didn't realize at the bottom of the upright, part of the base will face one direction. And so when I was assembling my rack, I had the base of the uprights facing in multiple directions. And so that kind of drove me crazy. And so when you are looking and assembling your rack, that's why you want to pay attention to the numbers in terms of if you want to face inside the rack or outward. And then while doing so, you need to ensure that the bottom of the base are facing in the direction that you want. And you may want all the numbers to face inside the rack so you can easily adjust J-cups or safety straps to the uprights, or sometimes you might want at least one of the numbers to be faced outwards if you decide that you want to, squat outside the rack.
My last tip is also in regards to building a 6-post rack. I actually recommend, especially if you're by yourself, is to build the back half first. So that way you can maneuver and move it around as you need to, especially if you're going to put weight horns on it. You're going to put the weight horns on and figure out how much room putting the bumper plates on the weight horn is going to take. So that's why I recommend building the back portion of it first and then add the longer cross members and the uprights so that way you can have your 6-post rack at the end. I hope these tips were helpful for you guys. Thanks again for watching the video, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.